I now declare Listowel Writers' Week 2012 officially open. Germaine Greer for
I'm used to Irish hospitality, but Listowel carries it a bit further than everybody else. You get embraced on every street corner, but never mind, I'm fine.
For 41 years, Writers' Week has hosted the great and the good, the struggling and the successful, the artist and the dreamer, the hopeful and the pragmatic into the literary and nourishing bosom of Kerry.
So therefore now, 41 years later, Nobel laureates may come, best-selling authors will come, the occasional book will emerge. New poets' voices will be heard for the first time, and indeed those other people who are of a peculiar kind, those seeking workshops, who go in at one side full of hope that their words will arrest the world and come out shattered. But I think it is, therefore, reminded, as Ernest Hemingway once said, writing at its best is a lonely life. Well, it may be, but every now and again you'd also know that you have to communicate that which it is you have allowed into the world.
It is my pleasant task to announce the winner of the 2012 Kerry Group Irish Fiction Award. And the winner is, for her novel The Cold Eye of Heaven, Dywer Hickey.
I want to tell you how grateful I am to thank the judges, John Bowden, Germaine Higgins, and all the committee and everybody in the Listowel, and just about everybody I know. And this award in particular means more to me than any other award, and I hope you believe that. Okay, thank you.
How do you feel like the festival has evolved over the years?
I think it's one of the things in Ireland that everybody should examine because it really works. And I came here first in the late 70s, and when I think I'd written a few short stories and they weren't even any good. And I watched the way the festival developed, and I watched how careful everybody was, that every time it did something new or expanded, it was done with such care and such deliberation that I think it's something that maybe the government, the banks, and many economists could actually come to study. And as how you keep trust with your audience, how you expand slowly and carefully, and how you do everything you do with flair and a real seriousness. And then you know that at a certain time to drop the seriousness. And so I think that's what people love about the festival, is that you can come here to one of the workshops, which is really serious, it's real work. And then you can go to the readings, which are great. And then in the evening, you can suddenly turn a corner and find you're going to have the best evening, of the whole summer.
So Belinda, you're welcome to Listowel. Have you been here before?
No, I've never been to Kerry before, except for a brief trip to Ballybunion when I was about 8.
Yeah. And what's your first impressions?
Oh, it's really beautiful. Yeah, it seems like a great town. There's a lovely atmosphere, and you can really. I just noticed the statue on the way in with the literary theme. I mean, you can just tell straight away that it's a literary town. So it's really lovely to be here.
as a writer, you know, you don't often get to meet other writers or talk to other writers, or you don't often get a chance to talk to someone like yourself on camera, you know. So here I am in the Listowel Arms overlooking the water, and it's
and the race course.
and the race course, yeah. So that's a privilege in itself, you know, and it's only half one, so the whole day is to go yet, and delighted, yeah, and looking forward to the crowds. Like I heard yesterday, they had to turn away 150 people or something from the theatre, yeah. So if we even have to turn away 15 people tonight, I'll be delighted.
Overall, he had good memories of England and his treatment there, although the injustice and the loneliness of emigration were never far from his mind. Until one day, in a moment of inspiration, he crystallised that sadness in his famous anthem to doomed youth. Many young men of 20 said goodbye.
Many a man at 20 said goodbye. Oh, that long day, from break of dawn until the sun was high. Many young men of 20 said goodbye. They left the mountains and the glen, the lassies and the fine young men. I saw the tears of every girl and boy. Many young men of 20 said goodbye.
Drawing on your years of experience at the heart of the biggest construction boom in world history, what do you do next? I asked. Right, okay, said Finian. Somebody's given us he looked at the block, a unit. We call it our capital base. Now, as the pharaohs discovered while building the pyramids, the secret is leverage. I know, I'll ring Brendan. He rang Brendan of Burr on his little phone. Brendan, 3 yards away, answered. Brendan, said Finian, I've an asset I want to leverage. Will you give me 10 on it? Sound. He hung up. Now I've 10 blocks. You have? I said, blinking. Finian nodded. Oh, Brendan's word is his bond. The others winced. I lost both my yachts invested in his bonds, muttered one. Insured with feckin' Lehman Brothers, indeed. Sorry, said Finian. I should have said as good as money in the bank. They all groaned. He never feckin' told me his bank was registered in Iceland, muttered Columba of Terry Glass. Finian coughed. Ah, yes, I meant as safe as houses.
So, Simon, what are your impressions of Listowel Writers' Week?
It seems great. It's a very full-on programme. You've got a lot going on here over, 3 or 4 days. And the town looks fantastic. I mean, like all festivals, I'm not spending enough time here, but you've got to admire any town with a racecourse.
It's my first time. I'm loving it so much. It's incredible. It's really, really interesting just to be in the atmosphere and just to hear people talking about writing and books and language, and it's so exciting.
There's certain parts of America in the South where everyone you meet is overtly friendly. And I just did a tour of the South doing readings down there, and at the end of every reading somebody would invariably invite you into their home to spend the night. And that hasn't necessarily happened here, but the feeling I get is quite similar. It's like a base happiness and civility and warmth that I think is very rare. And I've only really experienced it in the South and then also here in Ireland. So, yeah, I'm very happy to be here and meet you all.
This is a country which is extremely metrocentric. You know, an enormous amount of resources and are focused on the eastern seaboard and on the capital city.
Yes, we agree with that. Yeah.
And it is very, very important that things that take place on the periphery, although this is not the periphery, this is the centre of the world, the navel of the world, happen and get celebrated.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Listowel is a small town too has a lot to do with its success. You know, that people, there's an easiness about a small town, isn't there? And there's a conviviality.
Well, it is a small town and it is convivial, but also, miraculously, it is a small town where the built environment has not been destroyed. It is intact. It has a beautiful park, it has the river. It is, the built environment is absolutely fantastic.
I will sing to you of a lovely place. It is there I long to be. It is where I spent my youthful days, in merriment and glee.
The bank robbers in the Celtic Tiger era. I do not mean the gentlemen with the sawn-off shotguns. I mean the double-vent bonus boys. Brought a reign of terror into the lives of the innocent, the elegant, the confused, the polite, such as the woman passer-by who this morning stopped me on Duke Street. You wouldn't know me, but I knew your father. I'm 82. You're so like him. You're just so like him. Isn't it a simply glorious morning? And it's not yet even 11 o'clock. It's only 10 to 11 on a Saturday morning in the middle of December, and the sun beaming like a toddler on a bottom. The recession. Don't even say the word. Don't utter it. I lost my pension. Loud in Bangor. To that gang of tight-bottomed Piotius creeping Jesuses in allied Irish bands. What does it matter? I am 82 and I am as new as a snowdrop.
Capital in the book is not something that makes gives people opportunities, makes people happy, does anything to them. It comes in the book as a sort of napalm, as a sort of wound, as a new secret weapon called capital. That every image of capital in the book is a damaging image.
Well, I was very interested, you know that funny thing you almost find out what a book was about after you finished it. And I think, from talking about it, I realised that one of the things that I was preoccupied by was the idea that people think their main source of capital is financial, but actually most capital, the most important sorts of capital, are emotional and intellectual and to do with, the networks that people have in their lives and their family relationships. All those things are human capital of the most important sort. And I think that all the characters in the book make a mistake that a lot of people in Britain and some people here made, which is that thinking that all your most important sons of capital are things that you actually have written on a piece of paper that measures what you have at the bank.
I'm what they call an unclaimed treasure. And when you haven't a ring on your finger, people think you were never asked. But I am here to tell you, I have been round the block. I had my moments.
By God, I can have any man in Ireland if there's a man I fancy who fancies me. There's still time to fulfill myself. From now on, I'll confess my fantasies to a lusty, lanky man with muscle. A man brimming with sap and taspeh. A man who'll be a real match for big Maggie Palpin. The wheel of the chastity cord is still around my belly, and the incense is in my nostrils. I'm too long a prisoner, but I'll savour what I can while I can, and let the last hour be the sorest.
She's whooping like a wounded walrus. Ecstasy or pain? Down her back he goes in troweled swathes toward that rich, expensive exit, then curves around the line of withered thighs, finds the pit of dynasty and floods it with his tiler's brush, thickly covers it in broad maroon, dabs in every corner purple spots, the quaver of Her Highness going up in octaves, the royal seat of pleasures drenched. Enough, she cries, I am replete.
And I feel your arms about me, your kisses linger yet. You taught me how to love you, so you can teach me to forget. You broke my heart.
enjoying Listowel this year?
I am, yeah. It's a great
So
town.
you're giving a talk later on, is
Yep.
it at 4 or whatever?
Quite soon, about at 1:30 I think I'm going to be reading.
And do you enjoy
talking.
reading?
I love reading, yeah, because I used to be in the band, I used to be in a,
Toasted
Toasted
Heretic.
So I'm not really afraid of audiences and microphones, and I love the
adulation.
No, you don't get adulation at a fucking writer's thing. I mean, it's like going to mass, and if we'll suffer here for an hour and it'll be good for us.
I offered my services to teach freelance journalism, which has been my career. And for a couple of years I did that, and it was the most colossal fun. And I'm still in touch with a lot of the people I taught, and some of them are now published, and some of them have jobs in journalism. And every time we come back, we see people we've known and people we're fond of. It feels like coming home, really. It's such a great atmosphere in this place. I love it.
How are you finding directing the workshop?
It's interesting because you put together 16 people who've always wanted to write, who've never met each other before, which is ideal because you should never start writing with people that you know because they'll just put you off and discourage you from doing all that honest exploration that you should do. It works really well, and people are giving up the time, they're using their holidays, and they're all getting stuck in. We work hard, yeah.
Workshops are a struggle. Writers do nothing. I don't do anything. And we hear about that teaching is hard, and teaching is selfless. But you don't realize it until you do it. Just how selfless you become. You want to give every inch of your body to the students. And you're thinking, but I can't. This is only 3 days, and there is so much to learn. There's so much to experience. So my whole thing is that this and previous travel writing workshops I give, it's just a jumping off point. So I give my email, I give my contact details, and then from the next year, we can work together on things that we started in that course.
With digital and with your online kind of media and your social media, it's a lot easier to find groups of people that are going to be interested in the book that you're trying to sell.
We're at a very historic part of Listowel because, as you see, we're very close to the Fitzmaurice Castle. There was an old roadway, a passageway, the ford which crossed the river here on the cliffside of the bridge here. Just above us was Tail Lane, of course, which was a very important place. There was 14 families living in Tail Lane in the 1840s before the famine.
And you see how, because I've given you different shapes, you've automatically made the characters different. Okay? They had to be different, didn't they? You had a caterpillar, you had a spider, you kind of this kind of thug character, and you had a winged creature. So they had to be different characters. So the shape really sets it up. By the time you've started doing the details, it's already different from all the others.
I've worked with one illustrator. I've written 2 children's picture books and I'm working on a 3rd. That was a real departure for me. And the picture book is quite like poetry because I'm a poet, so it's got that rhythmic, condensed feeling to it, and it has to be very durable. You've got to be able to reread a picture book many, many times. It's the stirring and the kindling of the imagination, and again what I was saying earlier, that love of words which slowly leads to a love of books, and that's a lifelong thing.
First day in class with all these people listening and I don't even know half of them, and my new teacher has to ask me a really difficult question. That's not fair. And do you know what Mr. Horrible Hairy-Faced teacher asked me? I will tell you. What's your name?
your hands together, give her a warm Listowel welcome, Germaine Greer. Thank you so much.
It's not a question of men and women fighting each other. There's nothing to fight over. There is no bone here, and there's no cat and no dog. What we've got to do is try and make a world where we can treat each other decently. We had to do the equality thing. You know, had to go into Parliament to find out what a bear pit it was and how silly it all was and how complex the networking between the men was. The old boy network is only one kind of network. There are lots of different kinds of networks, and they're all rather good at excluding women. So the women have a distinct feeling that they don't really know what's going on. What is the mechanism that means that women cannot win? And that's really the thing that we have to change. But we have to change it. We can't ask men to change it for us. And that was one of the things that used to piss me off when people wanted to go and complain to the boss because they put a mirror on the floor by the photocopier. And I think you're just running to daddy and saying, hit him because he's been mean to me. Go and be mean to him. Sort it out. And by the way, get the other women in the office to stand up with you and say, we're not going to let you do this. You debag him and send him out into the street. Do something. Don't cry, go running to daddy and saying they've been mean to me. So the gender debate is really the sex debate, but we have to try and understand what that mechanism is that means that women cannot negotiate from an equal footing. One of the reasons we can't negotiate is that we love men too much.
I suddenly had a huge following though. There were letters, there were cards, there were even marriage proposals. There's some very strange people out there, by the way. Although you learn to spot them generally from the green ink. Strangers who'd seen the way Roy and I were around each other on television would spill their hearts out, their secrets, their problems to me. For a while I must have been Britain's most popular agony aunt. The sad, the lonely, the bereaved, the broken-hearted, the confused. They all wrote, just looking for a year. Their letters typically beginning with the words, I can't believe I'm writing a letter to a dog, and often ending after 10 or 20 heart-rending pages with the line, I don't expect you to write back.
Would you lay your love on me? Could you shake me till I'm clean?
Even Mayo yesterday, everyone was saying, "Oh, you're going to Writers' Week," and I thought, "That's great. It's great to get that, you know. You know, it's literally like the event of the year. It's like the Galway races for writers."
Of all of the festivals, I think that the atmosphere is Listowel, and that includes all the English festival. I think it just beats everything. You get such committed attendees, such committed writers, and you've got that intimacy that a lot of the big festivals just don't capture.
We're in the Listowel Arms, and out there, everyone is reading. Out there, there's like 100 people with books, just massively hungry reading. So that goes on during the day, but then the revelry at night. And that was the thing I'd been warned about, you know. The last few days, it really is. Like on your liver, your insides. And I don't party much, yet every night here, I just haven't got to sleep before 2:30. And I'm teaching my students at 9 o'clock in the morning in the community college. And I'm normally the most sensible person, but there's something about Listowel. It's like, you know, it's like Brazil, it's like Copacabana.
The creativity that is celebrated here and all the difference that is celebrated, it's an example of plurality in action, and it was just, everybody was so friendly and supportive, and it just made it so much easier.
In the 80s, Michael Hartnett brought myself and my husband Janice down in the 80s, and I came for a couple of years and really enjoyed the crack, really enjoyed it, until Mary Keane told me, you needn't bother coming back again here until you've written something, she said. Yes. You can't just come down here just to drink and act the Egypt, she said. And you better write something. And I'm so afraid of her, I actually did.
And you took her advice and did wonderful.
Took her advice, took her order.